phone that died.
Oh, okay, no worries.
And that means we lost that entire thing that we did.
Oh, no.
I don't even know what to say, because it's not, once the phone dies, it does. I don't think it saved it, but I'll check to see whether it did saved it. Well, we had over 450 people, so I feel like we've impacted 450 people. And Faye is my sister. I know that I have her in my corner. I know that if I want to bring her back and we will do our rant, she'll be happy to come back.
Anytime. And honestly, for the whole PR, student to PR process, I have everything on my channel. If you guys missed everything
I'll tweet out your YouTube. Just send, I know where it is. But I
have the videos on each of the steps, how to pick a program, how to pick a school, how to apply to the school, and how to apply for study visa, work permit, all of that. So yeah, all the information is there regardless.
So I'll be tweeting Faye's YouTube channel. You go follow her on YouTube channel, learn a whole lot of things there. I'll also be tweeting my YouTube channel where we've recorded all the previous sessions with Dr. Charles, with B, with Mrs. O, so everyone can go and watch it. Faye will let you go. It's always an honor to speak to you. I'm very thankful to God for you. I'm very happy to have you as my own sister. Thank you for all the work you do. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of your evening. My regards to Mr. Macaulay. I can see that you're doing a great job.
Thank you.
Thank you, sis. Take care.
I love you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Hi, guys. I feel like we are loaded. We've done a whole lot of session today. We have one more speaker that I'm going to bring on today. And this person is going to be telling us a whole lot more about education pathway. And she, let me just bring her in. There's no need to be introducing her outside of this because she has this energy, this ginger that you all need to hear about. Hi. Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm doing very, very well. We have like the same hairstyle going on.
I see that. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. Good to see you too.
Well, we haven't talked in a while. So
I know. We need to catch up.
It's at least good that we're talking to people. If you all don't know, me and Mariam, we used to do our like monthly sessions in the past. We haven't done that in a while. This Nigerian unrest, has got us talking. Mariam is from Ibadan, just like me. Like I said, I've been harassing everybody in government. As I am harassing people online, I'm harassing them offline. So I'm in touch with Mariam to kind of talk about how can Canada rise up, Canada Ibadan people too, specifically. So we've had a couple of sessions today. We started with Professor Charles, walking us through how do you get a professor, some explanation about an SOP, and it gave us some very key pointers there. We went on with InfoPlace Canada. InfoPlace came on, walked us through the Saskatchewan nominee immigration program for people to get it step by step. What is it that I need to know if I'm trying to pass through this route? Who merits it? What is the criteria? Who shouldn't look at it at all? All of that was covered. We brought in B today. B explained express entry route. What does that mean? She's a testimony of someone who passed through that. How much money is required for you to be able to do that? Then we went on and brought in Shira Consult. Shira Consult, we couldn't hear them properly. So we couldn't get a lot on IELTS covered today, which is sad. But I particularly invited Shira Consult to come talk about that because they have IELTS classes in Nigeria that they're doing for people. I've gotten good testimonials from there. I've been sending some people who need IELTS coaching there. If you don't follow them, I know we didn't really get a whole lot out of that session because of network issues, but you should go find out what they have in terms of programs. If you're struggling with your IELTS, things are not going on well, you think you are scoring low score, I think you should go talk to them. You should enroll to their programs. What I wanted to use today to do was to promote to you the right people to contact and also help you get a little free stuff from them. So you get some, like InfoPlace gave us SIMP, all of it, breakdown. Shira Consult was supposed to help us with writing. They were supposed to come and demystify IELTS writing today. We didn't get that. Maybe this is something we'll do again. We brought Mac, who has tons of YouTube videos, experience with coming to Canada, no scholarship. You want to come, no scholarship, what should you do? What provinces are good for you to look at for cheap schools? We'll close this session today with Mariam. All of the people that I selected, each of them have demonstrated that they are thought leaders, they're experts in their own right. They can help you through a lot of different things. One thing that I saw with us Nigerians is this. It's either we over-monetize everything. So nobody can have access to anything free. Which is not helping our youth. Over-monetizing is worrying people. Or we safeguard our crowd. We don't want to do Instagram live with somebody else because you think they will not come and patronize me anymore.
There's so much to
that person. My thing is whether the person who is offering everything free, like Professor Charles, who is a professor who you will be writing to, or Info Place Canada, or Mariam, who will get you charged. I have similar programs, but you need to know your options. You are here today. Some of you have bought plenty data to stay with me for 4 hours. It is not easy. I want to make sure, if you can buy data to stay with me today, I know that you are not afraid to pay for what you need. Nigeria is going through a turmoil right now. Don't sit down there expecting that your immigration to Canada is going to be cheap. It is not going to be cheap. I want to let this get into you that this is not going to be cheap. You are going to pay price in terms of time. You are going to invest plenty patience. You are going to be ready to do plenty research. And you are going to be ready to pay money to people who will guide you. And I want to tell you, my suggestion is you do your PR yourself. You do your admission yourself. But if you cannot, you do all those things yourself. But go talk to a consultant. Go talk to Mariam or Dr. Addy and say, this is the pathway they said this is what I have to take. Dr. Addy said I should go and do this course because if I finish, I'll get a job. Mariam said, if I want to write SOP, I should go this direction. Info Place said, if I want to apply for visa, I should make sure I do this. Save that money. None of these people paid me $1. I opened this channel that I have built myself up to them because of you. I believe you deserve to know where to go and not just come to Dr. Addy when you want to shit, when you want to eat. Go to the right people. Yes, I offer some of these programs, but have multiple options. We have Mariam here. Mariam is very dear to me. She's my sister from Ibadan. For a while, myself and her, we have this mentorship program where she calls me. I say, this is what I think. She has strong head. Plenty. I'm putting it out to the world. She has strong head. She will not do. If you tell her,
but strong women, strong women connect.
But I appreciate the strong head because I also have strong head, right? And without strong head, you don't get to anywhere really in life. People who are very thorough in their lives usually question everything. What I have seen her build with Get In is too commendable. Sometimes I caution her. I say, go and focus on your PhD and leave Get In for 3 months. But I know one thing. She is so passionate about getting that sometimes you have to tell her, is that PhD that you should be working on? She's passionate about you coming here. That she almost not focused on her own PhD until we want to even slap her in the process. So if there is someone that I know is passionate about you winning, is passionate about you getting that scholarship, she's going to do it while getting off her own radar for you. I know she's the one. So that's why you are hearing her today. She's built Get In. I saw her just start that page. That page has gone from 3 people following it to thousands of people following it. She's been able to get scholarship for people who have been able to report testimonies, over $1.6 million.
And counting.
In scholarship. Usually when you invite Mariam to come to this kind of thing, she'll say, go to Get In. So, but I know she cannot tell me go to Get In. If I want to open everything for free, I'll tell her, give them. So today I have asked her, come and give us 2 things. And she's going to be helping us understand those two things. We may spend a little time beyond 3. I've only asked for 30 minutes of our time.
That's fine.
But I'm going to be sitting on the floor, and I'm now happy to hand over the microphone. Thank you, Mariam.
Dr. Jola, thank you for the comprehensive introduction. It's really a pleasure to be here. I want to obviously commend you because one of the things I obviously love about you is you're an action person. It's not enough for us to say, you know, the country is like this is what's going on, and we're all complaining. What are we going to do about it? How are we going to help people, you know, upgrade to the next level of their life? And it's something that you carry so dear to your heart. And, you know, that's something that I know will never change. And I'm very, very happy to be here, you know, to talk to your audience and to, you know, everybody in the audience. Really, you know, first of all, I just want to say ekbele, which means sorry, right? Because a lot has gone on this week. Please take care of yourself, take care of your mental health. But while you're doing that, also realize that, you know, every day is going, and, you know, time is going. So if you need to get to action, you know, ASAP. And the fact that you're here means you are ready for action. So today I'm going to talk specifically about personal statements and your CV. And the way I'm going to approach this is, okay, at Getting, we approach, you know, pardon me, power saving mode. So
we're losing you.
I think it should be fine now.
Okay,
you have me back now. Okay, so at Getting, we approach documents from a very systematic perspective. And, you know, I have a bootcamp that I teach, and we go into it step by step. But what I'm going to be teaching you here is one of the core principles in that bootcamp that will help you throughout your journey. You don't have to come to me. You understand? You don't. Honestly, we have so many free resources that you can access. You get because of this same passion. And I will list some of them for you so that I know where you can find them. Download it for free, educate yourself, and help yourself. Now, the one thing I want to talk about, which, you know, I know Dr. Dela has already mentioned, is that you need patience and you need to be able to do research. The biggest problem, Dr. Dela, me, people who do this, is everybody wants everything on a platter of gold without you going back to sit down and conduct the research. So you will do research, just accept it. So that's a given. I know I don't need to emphasize that. So in terms of your CV, I'm actually going to go step by step into some of the mistakes that I see all the time and which we need to stop seeing, especially when I think one of the problems with when we're thinking about admission is people kind of have this mindset as if you are just submitting a personal statement and you are competing against those who are from Nigeria. You're competing against the global audience. You understand? You are sending a personal statement to the University of Manitoba, and you think it's only people who are living in Manitoba that are sending a personal statement to that school or want to apply for that program. It's from all over the world. People from China, people from India, people from Ukraine, people from Hungary, people who have had access to better, you know, if you're a science person, the people who are actually using the science, all the equipment, not you that you've read about it. If you're a law person, people who've been able to attend conferences with their professors, they've gotten exposure. You understand? So the first thing I always recommend when you're trying to go, you know, into like a program, I always recommend that you sit back, and this is something Dr. Dela says a lot, sit back and look at the profiles of those who are in that program. What have they done? Look at it. It's online. It is online. Once you decide a program, I'm not going to talk about how to choose a program. All of that, I assume you've gotten there. Go and look at the profiles of these people. What have they done? Even for any job, even for any scholarship, whatever. What have they done? That's when you will see that they've joined one particular association of Shekinekon. Go and look at their association. What are they doing there? Is there student membership? A lot of people don't take advantage of student membership. You will pay $25 per year to join the International Institute of Kineko. Once you put it on your CV and you're applying to a school, you know, even if they cannot relate to all of your experience and all of that, they can see something that they're connected to. You understand? And so therefore you're going to be speaking the same language as them. So before I go forward, I'm going to talk about the one thing that I want you to take away from this call. And that one thing is contextualization. Contextualization.
The lawyers have arrived. You see?
Hey!
English. I cannot speak English.
Don't worry, I'll break it down.
What is that?
I will break it down.
What is going on?
I will break it down. Don't worry. That's what this PhD, we have to charge big money after we're done. It's contextualization. Now, what do I mean? Let me give you this example. You're coming from Nigeria. You understand? Or you're coming from South Africa. You're applying to a school in Canada. The way you think as a South African, as a Nigerian, your experiences, even the language that you use is different from where you're going to. So for instance, if you say you were the hall chairperson of Queen Idia Hall in University of Ibadan, in your CV, does that really translate to the person you are writing to? No, you have to say you were, you know, a residence coordinator of your hall of residence, or you were the chairperson of a hall of residence. So you have to put everything within context. The one thing I think Getting does well is that when you read any document that leaves us, you must not be confused. There are some personal statements, CVs that I see, and it is even me as a Nigerian, I'm confused because I don't understand. Now imagine somebody who is from a different setting as you are. So you are in your CV, you are writing NYSC, or you are writing you are from your local government area is Ijebu Ode local government. They cannot understand what you are saying. You understand what I'm saying? So the first thing you need to think about is every sentence in your CV, in your personal statement, does this make sense to somebody who is not from my background? Does this make sense to somebody who does not know my story? Have I been able to translate my story in the language of the person who is reading it? And that's what I mean by contextualization. Now, there are different ways to contextualize. And I'm going to give you some very practical examples. The different ways to contextualize. One of those ways is to use numbers. So you say, I was the hall chairperson. Okay. So what of Queen Idia Hall? If I'm a Nigerian, I understand, but to be hall chair, do you know what it takes to be a hall chair? Do you know the election you are going to do? Do you know how many thousand students are in Idia Hall? But you can't, your committee doesn't know that that's intense leadership experience. But if you say, I was the, chairperson of the largest hall of residence in the university that catered to over 6,000 students, as I'm reading that your document, I'll be like, what? This person led, 6,000 students, 1,000 students, 2,000 students. So using numbers helps them to understand what you're saying. Another thing you can use as a technique for contextualization is using comparison. So for instance, some people will say, Lagos is well known, but let's say you just say, I grew up in Lagos, Nigeria, and it's a very busy place, and there's always traffic. It's fine, you passed across your point. But what if you say, I grew up in Lagos, Nigeria, which is often, referred to as the New York of Africa? Somebody who does not know Lagos does not need you to come and write your essay of Lagos, because you've already told them in the language that they understand. Some of you might need to get a writer to help you. Some of you might need to question every sentence. And that's okay. I always say one thing, that every sentence must end its place. You have 500 words. You are writing blah, 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 blah. Every sentence must take you closer to where you are going. You have limited space. And before I come back to contextualization, another mistake people make, let me tell you something else called...
Can I add something to conceptualization?
Yes, please.
I want to add your English, how it's different from sometimes the American English and the British English are different. Some words in British English does not mean the same in American English.
Yeah.
So if you're applying to, let's say, I use this example a lot, lorry and truck.
Mm-hmm.
A lorry is what is called in British English. In American English, it's called truck.
Yeah.
So you need to understand that when you're writing these things, does it
translate? Yeah.
Does it communicate what you're trying to get to the person who will read it? You need to understand that what you're speaking in some cases may be screaming passion. To the other person, they may not feel the passion because they don't understand some keywords there.
Yeah.
As Mariam said, impact is very key. You need to quantify your impact, both in your statement of purpose and your resume.
Yeah.
When you're describing what you have done, it's either you do it functionally, that says, this is what I have used. Let's say
lawyer vibes.
It's not lawyer. This one is engineering vibes. Want it? Functionally, or you make it impactful in it with numbers. So functionally means maybe you throw in some software there. I use this software, or I use this application. or you throw in the impact. My work led to 20% reduction in waste. Or something. So you need to realize, based on where you are in your career, for entry level people with 3 years of experience, if you're describing your work, both on your statement of purpose and your resume, functional will be a right path. Just putting in what software you use, putting in how you use it to do what. Yeah. For someone with a lot of experience, impact would be critical. I always say mix both. Impact with numbers, saying the work I did, and then what? It meant that I saved the company $2 million. Yes. Or the project overall goal delivered so. Yeah. Always think, every statement that you make, especially in your resume, you need to think about it. What is the impact? And then what? If it doesn't read with an impact showing a function that someone can relate to and say, you know that software? Or, oh my God, you understand this method? And it can boost your opportunity. It doesn't have to be there. Yes. Same in that your resume. I don't want to hijack Mariam's session.
No, please. Let's go. We have to. I'm ready to stay for as long as necessary.
Just understanding that impact can be in two: function or really numeric. So you need to determine whether you want to mix both, or you one pays you more, maybe because you're entry level and you are more on the functional side, where that can be your selling point and your competitive advantage.
I mean, I think that's absolutely spot on. Sometimes you read a resume and you see something says conducted. I'm a lawyer, so a lot of my experiences would be like from that dimension. Conducted negotiations with several clients. Number one, how many clients? Number two, for what purpose? You understand? Were you the fastest person to conclude agreements in that your team? You get, or were you able to handle a record number of negotiations per week or per year? You understand? What are you really trying to say? And when Dr. Addy said that, you have to make sure that you're putting that thing in for a particular purpose. It goes to what I wanted to say about what I call the one document strategy. You see, sometimes I'm not sure why it happens. Maybe it's because we have not really thought about everything through multiple times. But sometimes you see a CV, you see a personal statement, and you're not sure whether it's actually from the same person. No matter how many essays they give you, you have to think about it that you are submitting one document. It's like you're writing a story. You cannot have, it's not a book of short stories. It is just one story. Chapter 1 must enter chapter 2. Chapter 2 must enter chapter 3. Chapter 3 must enter chapter 4. So you cannot start by talking about how you want to be, you love immigration law, but somewhere in your personal statement, you're talking about how intellectual property law is actually what got you. It doesn't add up. So what that means is that some of us that have a lot of interest or a lot of experience, you're going to have to build a persona, which means for this school, this is who I am selling them. I'm selling to them that I am a material science person, even though I know coding, I know whenever I talk about science, I know I'm always saying, I'm always just enjoying myself. I just like
enjoy.
Even though you are an expert at coding, you are an expert at thermodynamics, you're an expert at whatever it is, but you know that this school, their focus is material science. You will trim your experience to make sure that it is that material science that is really popping. You understand? So I want to remind you of two things that I've mentioned. One is one document strategy. Make sure that no matter the direction where they start reading your documents from, they will know that this document is connected. This is one candidate. This candidate knows who they are. They know what they're about. They're not confused. They're not coming to use. It's a weird thing because when people are writing the applications, you think you are writing it in a way that, school job, please come and take me. I beg you. But do you know that's the wrong way to think about your application? You must think about your application. When there's even job, you must think about your application like, look, I have something to give to this school, and if you don't take me, shame on you. You understand? Yes. And the only way you can do that is by demonstrating it in your document. You understand? It's your documents that will be there. It's your documents that will be there. You understand? To speak for you when you're not in the room. And that's why only thing I'm talking about today are those two documents. And I'm going to go into some, very specific points for the CV. So remember the one document strategy. Remember contextualization. You have to make sure you're speaking the language of the person on the other side of the table. Don't make them confused. What is this person saying? What exactly do they mean? They ate ogunfe in the morning. After the ogunfe, they now slept. Then they now woke up. Like, they cannot understand what you are saying. So now I want to talk about your CV. There's something I want to talk about, which is your profile. The one tip, sometimes you're encouraged to, and I personally encourage it a lot for grad school CVs, obviously depending on your field, right? You need to know what obtains in your field. But if you send CVs in your field where you can have like a profile or a career summary on top, I find it a very useful tool because it gives you the opportunity to tell them who you are and who you want them to say you are before they even start reading it. They don't have to deduce. You are going to tell them directly, okay, I am an international trade lawyer with 6 years experience advising multinational companies in Africa on conducting, cross-border businesses. I've done this and that. Not too long, 3 to 4 sentences, just to show, what you are about and the qualities that you possess. Now, if your profile is, I'm a hardworking, diligent person seeking to pursue further opportunities, that profile does not have any purpose there, because guess what? It applies to a barber, it applies to a shoemaker, it applies to anybody. You understand what I'm saying? It applies to any and everyone. So you have to, when you're crafting a profile, you have to craft it in such a way that
so is somebody helping me? Please is somebody helping me drop all this nuggets on Kini? Twitter. I need to, please let me collect my laptop, Father.
No problem.
Because I need to be, please, people, as she's dropping this, tweet it, add my name so I can add Mariam's name so that I can direct people to a profile to follow. We are here to give exposure to the right people. So please, I know I left this laptop, sorry.
No problem.
Because this phone, he died.
Yeah. No problem.
I want to add, if possible, something on that resume.
Yeah.
As you know, resume is my bread and butter. This is what people hire me for. I want to talk a bit about that page. There is something that we call 6-second resume. A 6-second resume is a resume that must catch the attention of the reader within 6 seconds. The first half of your resume is the most powerful part of your resume. If I read the first half of your resume, it should not take me more than 6 seconds. If I don't see the right things there, that resume goes into the garbage. Yeah. Now that area, that profile, I say to people, this is how to craft it. Remember to say in the beginning, there's nothing like I am a hardworking. No, but that's cheesy. You are a mechanical engineer with 6 years of experience. You want to say what your specialty is, straight to the point. Experience, how much of it do you have? I also now say you can do 2 things. You can say a little bit of your impact, which means I have led a project of 20 million and delivered blah, blah. Or you can make it functional. Like we said, impactful or functional. You can do impactful if that is what will sell you. For graduate school, most times, for sciences, what will sell you is not impactful. It is functional. So what will sell you there is there's something called functional area. So functional area could be, so let's say I'm an accountant. My functional area could be forecasting, finance or accounting, data analytics. So you need to put 4 functional areas. I have a mechanical engineer with 6 years of experience in areas that includes forecasting. I'm just making stuff up. Design, but whatever it is, you need to understand what functional areas can you claim.
I like that. If
you don't know the functional area you can claim, there is wahala. You need 3 to 4 functional areas. I'm not talking about skills. Skills come under functional areas. I'm talking about the encompassing banner. So let's say you're talking forecasting. Under forecasting, there are tools there and skills. But you need those 3 to 4 to put this. That is your profile. If I am a hiring manager, I am a professor, I see that the person has this amount of experience, and they said they are focusing on this. Now, instead of functional area, you can also put research interest there if that ties completely to your functional area. If a professor is reading it, what comes to their mind is, what is your research interest?
Yeah.
What have you done in the last 6 years? So if you want to tell them, if you're like me, I have industrial and academic experience. So usually I would call myself an additive manufacturing subject matter expert with 10 years work experience. I'll now put in bracket industrial plus academic.
Awesome.
And then I will start to throw my function in material research, in process engineering, in powder management. So I know my functional area. I just put those 4 blocks there.
Yeah.
I have shown you there. I have academic, I have industrial. These are my 4 major blocks of functional areas. And I've done it for 10 years. And you should call, I'm a subject matter expert. I know who I am.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right? So you need to think about that. For that tool, I always say to people, if it's more than 3 lines, it has turned to story.
It's an OTD essay. It has become an essay. I think 3 lines is a very good place to end. It just gives them a little taste that it invites them to read a little further. And I'm going to talk about the introduction of the personal statement as well, and how I like to do it. People have different strategies, but this is how I like to do it, and it's worked for me a lot. Now, a few things I want to highlight in the resume. I obviously can't highlight everything, but one of the main things is under your education, people think it's a laundry list of schools. University of Ilorin, BSc, this secondary school, this primary school. Number one, there's even no reason why your primary school should be on your resume. Even secondary school says, I argue, there's no reason it should be there. But what people don't realize is that it's like you're meeting someone, and you tell them, tell me about yourself, and they're like, oh, I went to University of Ilorin, yeah. You tell me about your education. I went to University of Ilorin. What does that tell me about your real education? So under your education, I always advise that you have like 3 to 4 bullet points, no more than that, to demonstrate the courses, highlight the courses you've taken as an undergrad, that ties with the courses you want to take in grad school. It is basic. When I change when I'm editing my CV, I change those courses. Sometimes I even change the order of those courses, which one is coming first, depending on what I'm applying for. So I would usually say, obtained A grades or completed modules in, corporate finance, law and economics, World Trade Organization law, and commercial litigation. If I'm applying for anything that has to do with World Trade Organization law, I must put that WTO law as the first course. If I'm applying to something that has to do more with corporate law, I will put the corporate finance as the first course, because I know that actually that's a very nice play on word, as like the first course meaning like food, and the first course I put in. Anyway, just ignore. So, you put the first course there, and it's part of those 6 seconds. Once they see, oh, this person knows corporate finance, nice, but they may not be interested in World Trade Organization law, for instance. And same with you. So if you've undertaken certain programs in your undergraduate studies that connects closely, it doesn't matter with the course we are trying to do, just highlight it, demonstrated sufficient competence in blah 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 courses. The next thing I usually like to highlight is if you have research experience. So I would usually encourage you to put your thesis, most especially if it connects with what you're trying to do. So conducted, a 100-page whatever research, completed 100-page research, whatever, on the rights of women in urban Nigeria or whatever, and you're going for a program in gender studies. Even if you don't have any other publication, the fact that you said you completed a 100-page dissertation, you understand what I'm saying, shows that you have the potential for research. The third thing I like to highlight under education is any leadership experience. And remember what we talked about contextualizing. You must put the numbers. You were the group lead, you did this, or you participated in certain, competitions, or you did whatever. Just 3 to 4 bullet points. It doesn't have to be too long. And demonstrate that same thing for all your CVs. Now, the place where a lot of people make a mistake is in the work experience. Most of the time, you worked somewhere. So let's say you work in Zenith Bank, let's assume. So you just write Zenith Bank, customer acquisition. Excuse me, ma and sir.
Before we move on, can I add a few points on
Absolutely.
education? I want to say this. It is very critical that you don't put your education back and put your work experience first if you're trying to apply for school. Because one of the criteria for you is education. So you need to, even if you have 20 years of work experience, push it down and push the education up.
Absolutely.
And I would say this, during that education, if you are one of those with first class and all of that, elevate. Soros, okay.
Then don't hide it.
So don't just, and when you want to specify that, I would encourage you to use percentage. Because if you say you have 2-2, what is 2-2? Conceptualization. No sense. Nobody knows what 2-2 means in this part of the world. So don't put 2-2 there. Don't put second class division there, because that is vague. That is vague. You need to remember always conceptualization. What is the other one again?
One document and contextualization.
So you need to always conceptualize. Don't write 2-2 there. Don't write 3.4 there, because we don't know whether it's 3.4 or 9.
Exactly.
So put it in percentage so we know clear cut is 92% average. That you got in your bachelor's. In your master's is 98% average. I also want to say this. Something that they don't do well for us in Nigeria is to specify what is your specialization. So let's say you study, because you're trying to get into school, right? So let's say you studied mechanical engineering, and in the last 5 years, you've worked doing design engineering. I want you to put mechanical engineering, specialization in design engineering. So anyone who is reading your resume does not just categorize you as a mechanical engineer. A mechanical engineer can be doing manufacturing, can be doing other things. But if you put your specialization there, it helps them to understand who are you particularly. Maybe there's a connection between that design engineering and that professor is working solely on simulation or advanced modeling. Now they get it. Or you say your specialization, advanced modeling, how I crafted my CV. So now let's talk about, you did something way off in your bachelor's. Maybe in my case, I did biomedical engineering. But I built a couple of portfolios. Like Mariam said, elevate the portfolios you want to sell yourself at. So I built a portfolio of biomedical engineering. I built a portfolio of physics. And then I built a portfolio of a material scientist. Depending on what I am applying to. You know, in Yoruba, we call it paroje. Which means I'm going to silence everything else. And I'm only going to elevate this one. So even if you are one like me, you have built like 7 portfolios, 5 portfolios, depending on what are you applying for in that school. When you put your bachelor's of physics in the mechanical, what you want to study is what you must put as your specialization. Don't go and, if you don't do that, you have missed the role of one document, right? You need to be telling yourself the way, you cannot have everything on your resume.
It's not possible.
So I'm reiterating this for people to realize 2 rules that you learn today that you must always apply. Conceptualization and one document. Always keep that at the back of your mind. On that area where your academics excellence can be showcased, yes, if you can put courses, put those courses. I also want to say, if you have certifications, if you have certifications that can help boost your chance, you should put it there. Not take it somewhere else. Now, there is something else that I always say to people to create. You can call it highlight of qualification or core competence or research interest. Because with half part of your resume, we want to make sure it's loaded, right? So if your research interests have not still been elevated enough, you need to put it, put it under your education. Let the person be able to know, this is what I'm trying to do. My research interests are, put 2 or 3 things there. If you want to showcase skill sets in sciences, skill sets are very important. I'll say after your research interest, have core competence. Under core competence, put the skill sets you want them to know. Usually, I'd say divide this into 3 columns, make it column-wise. In the first column, you can have software skills. You want to know how to use AutoCAD, Inventor, all of these things, load it up. You want them to know that you know something else. Maybe you know some techniques, you know how to use SEM, XRD, put it there.
You understand? SQL.
You know, let
Power
this
BI,
why? When that professor see that resume, let them remember the equipment they have in their lab.
Yeah.
And say this student knows how to use all of it. And that is why they want to talk to you. Because if they don't see a bullet point showing you can use SRD, SEM, and all of these nice equipment that they have purchased, they need to come and use it. Nobody has time to go and be reading your work experience to find that out. So you need to be able to show it up in the first half of your resume. For me to know what softwares do you know. If I have bought 10 licenses of SolidWorks,
yes,
I want students to use those licenses. And now you told me you can use SolidWorks or you can use ANSYS. Now that's the kind of student I ought to be talking to.
Yeah.
If you tell me you can use the equipment I have in my lab, that is the kind of student that I have. So load all of these things up. If your skill sets are good, put it there. If you can showcase your specialization and how it matches the people you talk to, put it there. If you can showcase your skills under that core competence, showcase your skills, showcase the techniques you know, put it there. They don't have time to read your work experience. Just load those upper parts up, and you'll be surprised. Once they've seen something that interests them, they will read the rest. They will.
And Dr. Della, just to emphasize that point, no, don't go. I always say when I'm talking to people, don't go to a school like a beggar. Yes, you might not have had maybe the fanciest equipment in your lab, or maybe in terms of exposure, but you have to recognize that you have something to offer. People want people who are bringing value, and you need to ask yourself, what do you offer? One of the things I teach as well when I'm teaching people is that you think being in Nigeria or being in Africa or whatever, you think it's a disadvantage. You need to rethink, because guess what? You have some local experience, some local knowledge, and this very, very well for the social sciences and the arts, right? And maybe Dr. Della can translate this into the sciences for me. You have some local knowledge, some local experience that your researchers are dying to understand. Listen, there are some jobs you will get just because you're a Nigerian. Guess what? Because there's a project and they need a Nigerian or an African to be able to help them understand the local context. Me, I don't care if you're hiring me because of local context or because of my knowledge. That's your business. You understand? So far, I get my job. So when you're in a field, for instance, if you're in all these social science fields where things are very contextual, maybe you're dealing with even like sociology, or you're dealing with things like development, or you're dealing with anything that involves people or systems or institutions. For instance, if I'm talking about access to justice in Nigeria is different from access to justice in Canada. And I want my professor to feel like I understand your work. This is the research I want to do. I'm going to build on your work to further, apply it into this circumstance. You understand? And basically, you are going to be teaching them something they don't know, something that you know just by being Nigerian. So last year, I went to the World Bank for an event, and they were talking about water. Pardon me. They were talking about water, something, how they did one bowl, and then the access to water, shekiniko. All the Africans in the...
Now that you talk about water, let me drink my coconut water.
Please do. All the Africans in the room, we all rolled our eyes. Why? Because it was clear that they had not really consulted with people. Because I looked at the Nigerian statistics, I said this thing cannot be correct. Why? Because when you do the bowl, it's one somebody who is going to lock that place and want to start selling the water to you, or when the bowl is dead, the generator or the inverter will stop working, and in a year that bowl is dead. So how did you make provisions for the local circumstance? You understand? For that project. I knew that project was not going to survive. So when you are thinking about the value you are offering to a professor, don't diminish everything. Nigeria did not give me anything. No. If you're talking about anti-corruption, if that's your research, you get what I'm saying? You would be talking about how you are dealing with systemic yet overt corruption. That's in many places of the world. Corruption is even hidden a little bit. But in your circumstance, you are researching how obvious corruption is what actually fuels the engine. You understand? Even your professor is intrigued because that's something that they don't have access to. You understand? So sometimes you rely on your local experience, especially for those of you in the sciences, but translate it to join a global problem. look at your local experience and translate it to join a global problem. One of the cheap way you can do that for most of you is if you, especially for the social sciences and the arts, if you have a research interest or something you're interested in, go and look at sustainable development goals. Does your research connect in any way to any of the SDGs? Now start looking for research on the SDGs and that topic. You understand? And you're going to start seeing people who are having a global conversation about that issue. This is a huge shortcut for you. So if you're talking about corruption, just Google corruption, this, and sustainable development goals. You start finding professors who are talking about it within a global framework. You will now bring in your local Nigerian corruption machine. You understand? You will now say, you know, even though most of the research looks at corruption from this dimension, in Nigeria, the way corruption is approached is so and so. And in my research, I intend to, you know, combine the insights from this person, that person, who has looked at it within a global context and apply it to this to serve as a template or a framework for other developing countries. To when you get to school, your research will change because
you should be clapping. Epic clap.
So that's a shortcut. So don't diminish as if you don't know anything. Even you as a doctor, you say you want to go and do public health. Don't just do as if, please, I want to come and learn all the research. Please come and teach me. No, you say public health. The nature of the public health system in Africa requires different solutions that are driven by community, driven by, you know, technology, and driven by this. By going to Johns Hopkins or wherever, I intend to leverage on the work in this particular laboratory. You understand? And the so and so. And I also bring, you get, my 5 years of experience working in local communities with illiterate people. You understand? So don't discountenance your local experience.
Let me add a few things there.
Yes.
So when I remembered when I did approach my professor, he was working using segmentation, and how I approached him was tell him that what he is doing, I had another perspective. So I told him I did my master's doing this, and I used a different tool and analyze this type of data, and I made it known to him that my tool gave better results, and I attached some of my portfolios for him to look at my own analogy. I have an older mentee who is a medical doctor who had worked on HIV/AIDS, and I have another person who is a linguistic whose language that she's researching is a Nigerian language. How can they use conceptualization to build on, okay, I have some experience. So let's say my mentee, who is a medical doctor, works on HIV. Now, COVID-19 is ravaging our world. She can say, because she has worked on HIV, use all experience in HIV and say, this is how I can approach COVID-19. Or I have someone who worked on malaria, similar to her, who now we have solved malaria almost in Africa. So this person was one of the team who helped a whole lot in the last 15 years working on malaria. So this person can claim and say, if we're able to defeat malaria in Africa, here are some of the African strategies funded by Melinda and Bill Gates Foundation that we executed.
You are busting my brain. I want to add another thing.
To bring some of this experience to help tackle the impact of COVID-19 and establish a framework. You have, instead of abusing Nigeria, you have translated the issue that we have and what you have learned in one disease. And now you want to use that as your baseline for another disease. I want to admonish us today, as you look at Africa, there are things that you can spin. You can spin it towards a positive light. It's the person who was studying language, studied a language in the North. This language, when she's now looking for opportunity in Canada, she can spin it towards the Aboriginal people's language. How you want to research some of those Aboriginal people's language and establish a framework for their children to be able to continue to utilize that language and extend. So you need to think about what I am doing today in Nigeria. How do I make it, how do I conceptualize it? And take that my experience and say, I want to move forward and do a similar thing in Canada or do more, but I have this background.
They need to see the parallel.
So I feel like there is something good there. I have seen a lot of people, I've read, because I edited SOP, I've read SOPs. 80% of Nigerians write how stupid, how bad, how
you can't do that.
Nigeria is, how that is the reason why they have not really climbed. Let me tell you, you have just lost a professor. You have, because you're, instead of abusing Nigeria, you could have spun that. You know, let's talk about 2050. By 2050, the population of Nigeria will double.
Yeah.
If the population double, we're not prepared in terms of housing, in terms of affordable healthcare and all that. Maybe you are currently working with a commission, or you are actually thinking you want to learn this area because you want to tackle that 2050 problem ahead of time. Instead of abusing Africa, let them know you are thinking ahead and you want to come for this program so that you can be one of the people who will help tackle that problem. Africa has its problems, but you can, instead of using the problem and abuse them, use that problem as the reason why a school should give you an admission.
Yeah. And I'm going to piggyback on that. Honestly, as if we had rehearsed this chat, because the thing is just,
we always flow. I'm
gonna piggyback, on that and just say, when a school is admitting someone, let me tell you what they're thinking about. In the next 5 to 10 years, if this person is an alumnus, are they going to bring glory to us? You understand? Are they going to be somebody we're going to be talking about? If you can demonstrate that through, it doesn't mean you've done a lot, but and the way you can do that is through your past record. And I'm going to just move into work experience and, talking about achievement. It's through your past record. The best predictor of your success is your past. If you're able to, somebody will say, oh, I want to play international basketball, but in your local community, they don't pick you in the first team. How can you play international basketball? Is it a miracle? How does it want to happen? You understand what I'm saying? Like, it's the same thing with your academics. So for some of you, maybe you've not really thought so much about this academic thing. You might need to go back to the drawing board. I tell people all the time, sometimes you might need to go, and I'm sure Dr. Della says this too, you might need to go back and give yourself a 1-year strategy. Within this 1 year, there's this particular type of NGO. I want to work with them. Then after that, I will use that one for my volunteering. Then after that, I'm looking for a job in this area. There's no job. Maybe I'm going to volunteer my time with somebody and tell him I'm going to work with him for 3 months. You understand? To get this experience. Whatever you need to do, just do it. Another point I wanted to mention that Dr. Della also said in passing was, how she said that person who was working on malaria says, I've worked with, on the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, initiatives in Africa. You'll be busting the person who is reading it. You'll be busting their mind because they're thinking, okay, this person has worked on a Bill and Melinda Gates, work. I'm sure they make sense. So think about anything you can be associated with. Is it Red Cross that you don't work with? Something that they understand. Again, still goes back to contextualization. So don't just say, and I'm going to, wrap up the CV on this point. Don't just say, I work with Zenith Bank. I always encourage you must have a 1-line description under any place that you've worked, except it's a place like maybe Deloitte, like KPMG, something that exists in their own climb and that they understand. If you say you work in Zenith Bank, guess what? Nobody cares if you're the branch manager of the most successful bank or the most successful branch. If you don't let them know, underneath, just in italics, very small, 1 line, Zenith Bank is the leading, Nigerian bank with presence in 7 or 15 African countries and market capitalization or whatever of so trillion naira. You need to give a 1-line description. You tell them you work
$1 trillion though. Don't use naira. They can't calculate.
Oh, sorry, dollars. Of course, that's another contextualization point. You cannot be quoting stuff in naira. Are they going to bring a calculator for you? You're a lawyer. You said you've worked on deals of 200 million naira. Who knows how much that is? You need to let them know that it's a $1 million deal. It's a $10 million deal. Quote everything in dollars. You understand? So anywhere you've worked, if you worked in a Obafemi cement factory, for all I know, it could be underneath a little hole. And for all I know, it could actually be the biggest cement factory in Nigeria. But if you don't tell me that, am I going to Google it? Me as the professor who did 15 statements, am I going to go and Google it? And it's also another opportunity for you to sell yourself as competent, for them to see that, well, if this person can work in the biggest bank in Africa, I'm sure they will have something to contribute to, to our MBA program or to whatever program that you're giving. So use that. I'm not going to talk too much. Just use that as a little trick, to make sure you are explaining everywhere you have worked in. Even if that place is not a big deal to you, please look at the positives. Find the best thing that place does that is connected to what you want to do and highlight it. Now, in terms of personal statements, I know we're running out of time. I just want to say one thing.
It's you that is, we are taking your time.
I just want to say one thing. The same way Dr. Addy talked about the 6-second strategy for the 6-second rule for the CV, is the same for the personal statement. You see, if you start your personal statement with, according to Martin Luther King, you've lost me. I'm sorry, you've lost me. The way we write, or the way I've seen that works, I've gotten an insane amount of money in scholarships, and the way that has worked for me is because of the art of storytelling. Now, not storytelling just because you just have many stories you want to say. No, I always encourage that the first 3 to 4 sentences, 2, 3, 4 sentences of a personal statement begins with something that they will remember you by. Sometimes the story might even be a little funny because you might be a breath of fresh air. Sometimes it might be a little shocking. Sometimes it might be a little just intriguing. You get what I'm saying? So, for instance, this, like, if you want to do, maybe sustainable, sustainable engineering systems or renewable energy, or you're trying to look at maybe water supply, blah, 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 or drainage or something like that. I would start my personal statement not by saying, adequate drainage is very vital for the development of any big city. I won't start my personal statement like that. I'm going to start my personal statement by saying something like, if you live in Lagos, Nigeria, and you hear the sound of thunder, that is the cue for you to make sure you're home in the next 1 hour. Because, so the person is already like, what's going on? You get what I'm saying? You've gotten them to read beyond the first line, and that's your job. Your job is to get them to read beyond the first line. So once I said that, it's like, so the personal statement I used to get into University of Toronto, the first line was that I was 15 years old, or I was 16 years old, or whatever age I put, when my mother was going to buy her first car. Hello, I'm actually applying for a master's in law. What does, and when I've read Oyinbo personal statement, the thing is always sweet. It's not just they are weaving a story into it. I now went on to talk about how she was going to, very short. It wasn't like it was half a page. That's the mistake people make. It's just short. And I went on to talk about how she had to go to, Benin Republic to buy a second-hand car. And she needed an agent because to import something from an African country is like war. You understand? And that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to find a way to make cross-border trade easy. So I was able to use that as, I didn't understand that. But as I became a lawyer and as I got interested in business law, I began to see how difficult it was to conduct trade across Africa. Another way I could have written that personal statement is, as strange as it may sound, it's faster to send a parcel from Lagos to Paris than it is to send a parcel from Lagos to Cote d'Ivoire, which is 2,000 kilometers away. You understand? So I would contextualize by saying it's easier to send a letter from Nigeria to Paris, which is 15,000 kilometers away, than it is to send a letter to Cote d'Ivoire in Africa, which is 2,000 kilometers away. I want to know what is coming next. I will now talk about the difficulties in trade, how I got interested in it. Then the next step will now be, what are the competencies? Why are you the one to solve that problem? Why is this something that you have carried on your head? You understand that you want to come to school for. So I hope that's to me, that's the most important thing about your personal statement too, is that introduction. Your introduction, your evidence. The evidence that you can do the work that you claim you want to do. And when you are concluding that personal statement, most people will just say, I want to go to this school because they have a fantastic library. Which school does not have a fantastic library?
I don't know.
Which school is not having a fantastic library? You think we're in, some other places. All the schools have fantastic library. So you have to do underground research. Now, let me tell you one of the ways to do underground research. You people should come, and you people are supposed to pay for this live session because I don't know, the love for Dr. Addy is too much. I'm not giving you people for free.
They will still come to get it. They will still need to come to get it.
One of the ways you can do this, to show that this school more interested, you understand? go and look at the professors that you are interested in. Follow all of them on social media. Follow all of them on Twitter. Not only are you follow them on Twitter because there's this academic Twitter space. You know, everybody wants to feel really, you know, sharp and stuff on Twitter. People post a lot. So your professors may not be that, not all of them.
Me, I don't have academic Twitter. Everybody that is academic, I block them. No, I don't. Let me just be Twitter.
Honestly, that's why I don't do Twitter, because I'm not sure. I feel like I have so many different things to say. I'm not really sure who the audience is. Anyway, when I finish the PhD, when my chest don't grow, I will do Twitter properly. But you know, you follow them on Twitter. The second thing I'm going to tell you is go and look at the events that your school, your department has put up recently. Check the event section. What are they doing? Go. Check the news section. Who just won a grant? Who just won a grant? What did they just get a grant for that they want to explore shekiniko? You know, so you need to not just look through the website. Think about what is the latest news on these people. And when you are looking at that Twitter, don't just look at what they tweet. Look at who they retweet. Click that person's profile. Who are they? What are they saying? Most times they will retweet their colleagues. Imagine if you are mentioning in your personal statement or your research proposal or something, where this person's research, you know, while very, you know, important in international commercial litigation, does not fully, and you know that they know that person, and you know that they are retweeting that person. Abba, you understand? They will feel like this is someone I know. This is someone that knows what is happening. So take some time. It's stalking. You have to stalk. That's it. You have to stalk them. But that social media, Twitter, is so crucial. The news section of your school, so crucial. The event section of your school, so crucial. Not even your school, your department also. The other thing you can do, which is, well, another level of things, is to set up Google alerts for that school, that program, or that person. I have a Google alert for my supervisor. Anything to I must be aware. If anything is coming out, I want to know. Any job I'm interested in, I have Google alerts for them. I may not even read it every time, but at least I'm just kind of knowing what they're up to. You understand? So don't just say you have a good library. You know, there's just a personal survey that I completed, and I saw that the school already started one COVID type, you know, research in marketing. Who am I for the clients to be going into marketing and not to mention that work that's going on? Yeah. Who are we? You understand? And it wasn't something that was just everywhere. You had to go and find it. So I hope with these few points of mine, I've been able to convince and not confuse you on the kind of work you need to do. The final point, which somebody mentioned, is when this NYSC point, please, I don't want to see NYSC on your CV. Don't write NYSC. You can use the experience you gained from there. So me, I did my NYSC in a law firm. You can never see NYSC on my CV. I'm just going to say associate at this firm and the work that I did. NYSC, who knows what that means? Does that mean Naira, youth? What does it even mean? People just write NYSC with all their chest, as if everybody's supposed to know where you're coming from. You understand? Doesn't work that way. So use that NYSC experience. You understand? But don't say it is NYSC. It is work experience and it's work experience. Another thing connected to that NYSC is when you're using abbreviations, be very careful with abbreviations. Number one, you have to have defined it first. Number two, you don't want a situation where the person is trying to understand what you're saying, because you say, and lawyers are used to this a lot. You can say the PPP and the YPP in the DBB. What are you saying? Don't put too much. You know, yes, I know you're trying to make it concise, but don't put too many abbreviations that they're not able to, you understand, follow your story very easily. So I don't know if you have very pointed questions, but I am, as the reason why I really started getting, honestly, like, is because of this same passion. I went to UI. When I was in UI, yes, maybe I was very serious, because this life is either you know someone or you know God or you know book. You understand what I'm saying? Best for you if you combine two of the three, or if you have all three. But I don't know anybody, but I knew I could know book and I knew God. You understand? So after I did my undergrad, I got a scholarship to Cambridge, and I will tell you that in my heart, I was just thinking, I said, everybody deserves to have access to something like this. You understand? If I want to put in the work, everybody, we've been treated unfairly. Our leaders have failed us. I'm not going to lie to you. They failed us immensely. Nigerians are some of the smartest people in the world. Some of the smartest people in the world. Even with nothing, we come up with, we create something. Imagine if they now give us something. People will be looking at Nigerians like, how are you doing all this? Then I get choice. You have the capacity, but no enabling environment. So please, I want to encourage you. This thing is not going to be. Even me, who allegedly knows book, I spent 3 to 4 months on my research proposal. Just writing it. I will finish at work. I will sit down. But after work closes at 5, I will sit down till 10:30, 11 before I go home. Because if I want to submit this proposal to you, at least it should make some sense. You understand? And I kept doing that for weeks and weeks and weeks. I remember when I went home to Ibadan, mom was like, "Hello there, why are you so serious?" I said, "Mommy, please, my future." You know? So please don't expect it to come, and don't do this all the time. Don't expect it to just follow you like that. Many people from Ukraine or from Slovakia or from China, they're looking at that same program. So how are you going to make sure you stand out? So I will just, that's all. It's okay.
God bless you. Thank you. I know for a fact what you bring to the table here. And that's why, I've thought about, okay, Mariam always does this as live on session, like I do live on session. When are we going to ever be able to have a time to talk to people together?
Yeah.
You guys, this is one thing I know. Ignorance is expensive. Yes, you can look at it and say, oh, Mariam charges this amount of money. One thing I know is that I have scolded Mariam many times to focus on her PhD. And
thank God.
She's not providing me updates about her PhD. Me too, I have just carried my mouth, Motigbeno song, that whenever she finished, I will wear Ashwebi. Why? Because she's passionate about getting. She wants people to get access to what she has access to. Sometimes I think it's too much passion, but she has that passion because she believes every Nigerian youth deserves the type of opportunity she has. She wasn't raised by a multi-millionaire. She went to Cambridge. She's at University of Toronto. She knows what is possible. Why are you here? Because we want to show you what is possible. It's not only by telling you this is how to do it. We want you to first of all believe in the people you are looking at. People who can give you the right examples of what is possible. I did my master's in Finland. I did my PhD in Canada. I currently live and work successfully in the US. My both parents didn't have education. They didn't have no money. I sold pepe. But at the end of the day, there were a lot of tools that I utilized. I utilized internet to my advantage.
Like
Google
crazy.
is your best friend. You can't, I've been tweeting and copying Mariam. I don't know if Getting has Twitter.
We do. Getting Edu.
Okay, so I will tweet Getting Andu. So my plan is everybody who have come to this program today, I will tweet their handles. Go and follow them. If their program is the right one for you, go and register for those programs. The money you will pay for those programs is small compared to the value that they bring to the table. And you cannot do this process on your own. I'll let you go, sis. Thank you so much.
I just want to add, sorry, Dr. Dela, that if you actually go to my Twitter, when the president finished talking that day, I was so mad. And I just retweeted all the free resources that we have.
I might need the
link.
I might need the bonanza code for discount. So please help me create. You can think about it. This is how much discount I want to give people coming from Dr. Addy.
No problem.
Send me the code. I'll tweet it out to people. So people know if they're coming to register for Getting program, they're going to get this percentage free. Getting has too many resources for free. I also did one 5-minute video that Mariam thought was good for them here. There are so many people who have contributed to put resources for you together on Getting. You can go on there, download these resources, utilize them for your own sake.
Yeah.
The most important thing to all of this is being able to sit down, be ready and disciplined enough to say, I want to pursue this path. Nobody will do for you what you're supposed to do for yourself. Please give us your last word before you go. People don't go. I'll still do like 5-minute session. I want to take some of your questions so I know what to ask the different people today, okay?
No problem. So I think last words are just thank you for having me. You know, this is even very cathartic. Anyway, you know, has what is called but it's even very helpful for me to even do this because of everything that's, that's gone on. I just want to encourage you. We have a course also on, like a 5 mistakes people make with a personal statement. Is free, where you can watch it 1.5 hours and get all these deep insights. And God will help you. Don't be discouraged, and be careful who you share your dreams with. It's not everybody that you would talk to, or you will be forced to join you in the process. Know that it's your journey. You understand? Know that it's your journey. Surround yourself with people who have the same energy and are looking for the same thing. You understand? And God is going to help you to achieve your dreams.
God bless you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Yeah, love you too. Bye.
Bye. Thank you all for being here. Thank you all for participating. We spent almost 5 hours today on this program. I don't know if you can still hear me. I really do hope that these sessions have been impactful for you. I'll be tagging a lot of the people who participated today. If there are questions that you have, please feel free to drop me those questions on Twitter. Drop them to me on Facebook. Drop them on Instagram. My inbox right now is a mess. I have thousands of messages that I haven't attended to. I offer a couple of things. I offer a mentorship program. So if you're looking at, okay, if I go through this process, who is going to review my SOP, review my research portfolio, review my CV? You can register. I would suggest we register for the 4-session mentorship program. That gives you access to me. So it gives you access to unlimited editing of your documents. I'll do sessions with you. I'll help you understand what to do. And then you will have unlimited access to edits. I'll be editing your SOP for you, guiding you through it, editing your CV with you, guiding it through it. I also have single programs. So if you just want to determine, what should I study in school? What should I focus on? Where is the world going to? That's a single session. Come and register for a single session. Let's figure out what exactly you should study in school before you go out there and register for a master's degree that will cost you 2 years. I don't want you to waste 2 years of your life on a program that doesn't have competitive advantage. I don't want you to waste 2 years or a year in Canada doing a course that will earn you $45,000 per year. Why you should have talked to me, we should have figured out how should you start with $85,000. I also have a two-session mentorship session. So if you feel I don't need 4 mentorships, I want 2, you can register for the 2 slots mentorship program. I think that could be enough for you if you already have an idea of what you want to do with your life and stuff like that. I also have single sessions for, all right, I don't know what immigration pathway is good for me. As you all know, I've lived in Finland, I've lived in Canada, I live in the US. I can help you understand, should you be focusing on the EB1, EB2 pathway for the US, green card for US? Is that what you should be focusing on? Or your qualification will work for Canada and this is the right one you should focus on? That will help you because there are other places you can look at. Australia is one of them, US is one of them, Canada is one of them. We can't just always say it's Canada, Canada, Canada. Sometimes the criteria may be in your favor for the US than Canada. So that single session will help you determine, all right, is US that I should be focusing my energy on? Or is Canada is the PMP program and these are the things I need to go and find? My aim for starting that mentorship program is to make sure that you don't merry-go-round for years doing what will not bring you competitive advantage. I don't want you moving to Canada and living in basement for 2 years. I don't want you moving to Canada and not being able to afford a decent living. I want you to come there to dominate. Some of you know me. You have read articles. Dr. Addy has won all the awards in the world. Dr. Addy is getting promoted. There is a strategy to it. I paid for a lot of mentorship programs, 3,000, 4,000 to go and learn from people. And I am bringing all of those with me to this cheaper version of the mentorship program for you to be able to level up in your career. Thank you all for spending time with me today. I did this 5 hours almost for Nigeria, for the people that died. I did it all for Nigerian youths. I do not regret spending 5 hours of my time with you today. Thank you all for your time. I will drop the link. I'll tweet the link to my mentorship program I will tweet that tonight or very early. I'll tweet it tomorrow morning. So everyone can go on there and put in their hours. Let us remember, for this program to be successful, you need to put in work. You need patience. A lot of research will be required. You will also need to pray, because at the end of the day, the God factor is important. Please make sure that you start to save up. You need money in this process. You need money. Please save up. Ignorance is expensive. I thank you all for spending your time with me this evening. I appreciate you. I love you all. God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. God bless the Nigerian youths. God bless the Sorosoke Nigerian youth, and God bless all of us in the diaspora. Keep on standing up for what you believe in. Keep on striving. Keep on saying no to anything that does not elevate, that does not inspire. I remain your sister, your friend, that person who is waiting to receive you either in Canada or in the US, because I know you will join me soon. Have a good night, everyone. Love you. Bye-bye.